viewers. I hope you're having a great start of the week. Now let us begin with the headlines for this edition of the news. My name is Serge Nhore. Analysts in the Great Lakes region have noted that weaknesses in African-led mediation efforts and the lack of political will by the government of the DRC are among the main reasons for delays in implementing peace agreements. And on the international scene, Indonesia's government says it is overseeing the largest repatriation of fossils and artifacts in the world. Now straight to the details. The Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources has informed members of the Senate that the forthcoming law governing livestock production is expected to address existing challenges, including poor coordination and regulatory gaps that continue to undermine the country's efforts towards self-sufficiency in animal-based products. Livestock farmers have expressed concern over the high cost of animal feed, noting that it is significantly constraining productivity and limiting the returns they anticipate from their farming activities. On Monday, senators held a consultative meeting with the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Resources, Dr. Teresofor Ndabamenye, to discuss strategies for advancing the livestock sector. The discussions focused particularly on improving access to adequate and affordable, high-quality animal feed, as well as on measures aimed at boosting overall livestock productivity. The minister highlighted that the government, in partnership with private investors, has developed broad strategic initiatives to expand the number of animal feed manufacturing plants. He further emphasized that the livestock law currently under preparation will address additional structural and operational constraints affecting the sector. The discussions take place ahead of the nationwide visit, that is field visits by senators scheduled from Tuesday to the 28th of this month. According to the President of the Senate, the visits will enable senators to assess challenges faced by communities and explore ways in which the livestock sector can contribute to more effectively improving citizens' livelihoods. The ministry also reported that Rwanda currently has approximately 1.6 million cattle. Over the past 4 years, daily milk production has increased to 1.152 million liters. However, national demand stands at an estimated 9.5 million liters a day. Egg production remains relatively low at 31.5%, while fish production has reached 53% of the targeted level. Now, as we noted in the headlines, security analysts in the Great Lakes region have noted that weaknesses in African-led mediation efforts and a lack of political will by the government of the DRC are among the main reasons for delays in implementing peace agreements in the region. Adam Squizera with more on that.
Each day, the conflict in Eastern DRC continues to escalate, despite the fact that both African level and international initiatives and frameworks have been put in place to seek the lasting solution to the crisis. Analysts of the situation, including Alois Mutabingwa, find that the root cause of the conflict largely lies in the DRC government's acceptance of governance founded on discriminatory ideology.
Implementation of the outcomes of these peace processes is heavily centered on the government of Congo and what it's doing. I guarantee you, there is no ability, no willingness on the part of the government of Congo to implement anything that generates peace and security and stability in that country. What is very evident is the opposite. It is to find an ideological bearing that is divisive, extremely divisive, and promoting insecurity and instability in the country, including a determination of who should be treated as a Congolese and who should be treated as a Rwandese, even if by virtue of the history and as of right is a Congolese. They are busy trying to discriminate the Congolese to the extent that the wish from the ideological direction of that government is to exterminate anything looking like a Tutsi or Rwandese resident on that territory.
From the Nairobi and Rwanda talks to the later unified processes under African mediators, these initiatives are widely seen as having failed to deliver the expected outcomes.
deal between Kinshasa and Kigali, brokered by the government of the United States. It cannot be an end in itself. I'm sure you know, because it is also dependent on the outcomes of the talks in Doha. Doha is an inter-Congolese dialogue, to mean basically the government of Congo and the AFC M23. Now, although the third parties, like the Doha, the Qatar government, is trying to find points of convergence, the Kinshasa side is very divergent, very extremely divergent, because all they care about is not just a ceasefire, a disarmament of the M23, a conquest. And without conquest, no deal.
Both in public statements and within the provisions of peace agreements, the DRC government has acknowledged its role in implementing these accords. However, Ambassador Joseph Mutababa points out that the lack of genuine commitment to fulfilling agreed obligations is what ultimately leads to the delays in implementation.
What has been going on, Rwanda process, the Nairobi process, just call them any common name if you want. Then the Washington process, we call them anything we want. The common characteristic is that once this has been discussed and signed, it's the same people and the same trend. Happens that there's no political will to do or to honor what they have signed. Or they have signed this, they read a different text, you wonder where it came from, you know? So if there's no political will to accept, to recognize that what we have discussed, agreed upon, and signed for is what we are going to do, then it will never happen. And that trend is clearly there to stay. When I hear statements from Kinshasa, from Muyaya, from all of them, it doesn't change much. So if it doesn't change as such, it means the political will is nil.
In 2025 alone, the DRC government and AFC M23 had talks in Doha, Qatar, where they agreed on ceasefire to halt the fightings. But these agreements have not been implemented. In Washington, D.C., the United States also hosted the signing of peace and economic agreements between the DRC and Rwanda, which included provisions for the complete dismantling of the FDLR terrorist group. However, up to now, the DRC government still backs this genocidal militia. Adams Kwizera, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Adams. Now, investors in hotel and healthcare infrastructure say that the internet services they receive at their workplace are charged at rates between 10 and 20 times higher than residential internet, which costs about 25,000 francs per month. They are arguing that this situation needs to be reviewed and addressed, with measures taken to reduce the cost. And Gladys Wenimana with more on that.
In many hotels in the city of Kigali, as well as in some hospitals, clients and patients can be seen using the facility's internet on their computers or mobile phones. Investors in these businesses say that internet access is an essential tool in the services they provide, even though it is supplied to them at a very high cost.
Everything we do here, we use the internet. Most of the meetings have now adopted on-the-line meetings, of which we host meetings here physically, when there are also some participants who are out of the country, which needs full network coverage. So because of that, we have to buy the big bundle of the internet, which is of course costly, but also sometimes it becomes a bit hard for us to increase the price of our meeting rooms, our rooms, because of the price of the internet that is hiked.
And when it comes on technology, we have also to use the internet to be able to manage all the system and also to give the good service to our patients. So now we came to realize that the cost is a little bit high, and we are now trying to see if we can get a facility in one of the incentives to those who are really especially working in the sector of medical. Medical is needed. It is a service where we want really to improve more, as it is part of our vision, the Rwandan vision, to make Rwanda as medical tourism. So that one will be very helpful if we get an advocacy on terms of getting access to the internet and affordable.
Some internet service providers in the country say they have put in place systems aimed at helping clients understand how their internet is used and how to manage it efficiently.
At Zuba Broadband, we are an innovative company. We come in to understand the biggest pain points that a client is facing and how we can actually solve those challenges. Internet connectivity cannot be compromised. I think that's where the country is heading. Our pride is better service, a good experience for our clients. So a few of our clients and some that we're already engaging is we try to come in and understand the problem. So if the problem is about cost, let us see the cost. If the problem is about connectivity, let us also understand connectivity. We have an in-house proprietary technology where we can come in and actually be able to diagnose your entire system in terms of internet connectivity. We can actually create captive portals that segregate and separate internet for the guests, internet for the staff, internet for the systems, and we're able to monitor and help you understand where your pinpoints are, where your costs are going.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Private Sector ICT Chamber, Alex Nhari, says that the issue of high internet costs for businesses has been raised by private investors, as prices are 20 times higher than normal rates.
What's still challenging is business internet. Business internet is still expensive, and that is a factor of many things. One of it is the uptake from the general business community is still low, and that pushes the pricing by the supply. When the demand is low, the suppliers will charge the prices very high, because what they are trying to do is they're trying to recoup their investment. So that is sometimes it's at 10, 20 times the price of home broadband or home internet. So what we're advocating for is to work together hand in hand with other sectors that are dependent on the internet, to look at this, at internet service providers or the internet they're buying, not just as a product, as the final product, but rather as an ingredient, an input.
Economic analyst John Bosco Karisa believes that there should be a review of the issue of people who use internet services in commercial spaces. Yet many of those heavy users do not generate any income for the business owners.
Of course, for the home use, it's cheaper, and that is the government strategy. But I understand for hotels and restaurants, I've had some complaints related to the cost, the cost of internet. But it also depends on usage. And again, this is where it is different, because in other countries, when you use the hotel internet, you pay for it. But in Rwanda, it is for free. So I wouldn't say it is a complaint, but the way perhaps we package the prices. In other countries, you use the internet through usage and pay. But here, everyone, and it's a government policy, that when you come to a hotel or a restaurant, you shouldn't pay for the internet. So, and maybe there is a need to enhance subsidies around hotels and restaurants, so that whoever, even some people come and they don't even consume any product or service, but they want to use free internet. So I think we must have a way or a method of differentiation. Those who are consuming are the ones to have access to free internet, but those who are not consuming just come to use. And I've seen it, I own a restaurant, I've seen it, people come just to use the internet, they don't even buy a soda. So that's how it becomes a challenge. But overall, the strategy for the government is very robust, and it is within the line or within the alignment of the government strategy to ensure that everyone have access to a cheaper, affordable internet.
The Private Sector Federation ICT Chamber says that in commercial service areas such as financial institutions, hotels, hospitals and other businesses, a 30 Mbps internet package costs over 360,000 Rwandan francs per month. In some cases, businesses use internet speeds exceeding 200 Mbps, for which they pay more than 2,200,000 Rwandan francs per month. And there are even cases where some have paid nearly 25 million francs.
Thank you, Enola, for that report. Now, women across the country report choosing to participate in family planning programs using various methods. Their goal is to have children they can care for and plan for their future. Olive Nete with more on that.
At Kabutare Hospital, where family planning services are offered, many women seeking these services are those who have already given birth more than twice. Gatoya Angelique and Vestine Nyonsaba, who have already accessed family planning services, explained that they chose family planning to avoid closely spaced pregnancies and to better plan for the children they already have. I decided to use family planning for 3 years by taking a contraceptive implant. The reason I chose this duration is that I realized if I didn't, I might get pregnant again too soon without having enough time to properly care for my first child, which could lead to stunting. The reason I chose family planning methods is to ensure that I have children I can properly care for. Women who use family planning methods say that besides preventing child stunting, it has also helped to reduce challenges they previously faced, including delays in their personal development. I chose this to ensure my personal growth because when you give birth repeatedly without enough time in between, you don't have enough time to develop yourself or properly plan for the child you are having. Marie-Laurence Mukagatera, the Family Planning Services Coordinator at Kabutare Hospital, advises parents to select the family planning method that best suits them. The aim is to prevent closely spaced pregnancies and reduce premature maternal deaths. She encourages those with misconceptions to seek advice from healthcare professionals. Between one child and the next, there should be at least a 3-year interval, and between one pregnancy and the next, there should be at least a 2-year gap. This is what we usually advise women who come here. Family planning helps reduce maternal deaths because, for example, if a woman has had a C-section and becomes pregnant again before 3 years have passed, she may experience what is called uterine rupture. This is when the uterus bursts, which can put the mother's life at serious risk. Over 35,000 women have undergone permanent contraception as a family planning method. Overall, more than 2 million people in Rwanda now use family planning methods, up from 1.5 million in 2019. This means that in 5 years, over 492,000 people have adopted family planning. Family planning is a key government initiative aimed at slowing population growth, fighting poverty, improving health services, and enhancing citizens' well-being. Data from the National Institute of Statistics shows that Rwanda's population growth rate was 2.3% between 2012 and 2022. Projections estimate that by 2050, Rwanda's population will increase from just over 14 million today to approximately 22 million. Since the introduction of family planning programs, the average number of children per woman in Rwanda has declined from over 5 in 2002, more than 6 in 1991, and 8 in 1978, to about 4 children per woman currently. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Over the past 2 years, more than 70,000 children who had previously dropped out of school have been successfully reintegrated into the country's education system. The goal is to ensure that within the next 5 years, more than 180,000 children will be brought back to school and remain enrolled. Olive Nete once more.
At Groupe Scolaire Rusheshe, located in Masaka Sector, Kicukiro District, Eric Rugwiro, a primary school student, is one of the 26 learners at the school who had previously dropped out but have since been reintegrated through the Zero Out of School initiative. His parent explains the reasons behind his withdrawal from school. Because of a disability he had, he wasn't able to cooperate well with other students at school and often got into fights. It was really difficult due to his disability. He had to drop out of school. Now, seeing him peacefully interacting with others at school, leaving home with his bag and his sister, makes me happy. Watching him play and enjoy time with other children and seeing how much his behavior has changed truly relieves me and brings me joy. According to the administration of Groupe Scolaire Rusheshe, factors such as disability, child neglect, negative parental attitudes towards education, and the lack of basic learning materials are among the leading causes of children dropping out. The main reason is disability, yes, because if at school there are like 7 children with disabilities, a child might feel uncomfortable at school. When they go back home, if parents don't carefully support them, this can cause them to completely drop out of school. That is the very main reason. Another reason is financial status. Sometimes a child might not have materials or support from their parents, and they start missing school. If this happens repeatedly, it can lead to them dropping out completely. To provide a sustainable solution to this issue, the Ministry of Education, through the Zero Out of School initiative implemented by Save the Children Rwanda, has facilitated the return to school of more than 70,000 children who had previously dropped out over the past 2 years. The program aims to ensure that all identified children not only return to school, but also remain enrolled until they complete their education. Derek Langford, Senior Engagement Specialist at the Education Above All Foundation, explains.
The partnership project with Save the Children and in partnership with the Ministry of Education here in Rwanda is focused on bringing all children into quality education. It is their right to access education, and we cannot have sustainable development without those children realizing that right. There are a lot of ways that the project proceeds on that front. One of the most important ways that we achieve or are working towards bringing all the children of Rwanda into quality primary education is through partnership with communities, getting the community involved in school feeding programs, and also working with children with disabilities. It is their right to education too.
Among the children targeted for reintegration, over 24,000 are children with disabilities who either never attended school or dropped out due to parental perceptions and social barriers. The Zero Out of School program is implemented in partnership with the State of Qatar through the Education Above All Foundation.
Thank you, Olive, for that report. Now, girls who studied different vocational skills in the districts of Nyagatare and Musanze say that the opportunities they received have begun to change their lives and that they see them as a key to a better future. They are girls aged between 17 and 25 from underprivileged families in the district, many of whom had dropped out of school after becoming pregnant, while others are young heads of households facing difficult living conditions. The girls say that getting the chance to study vocational skills felt like a dream after having dropped out of school. Grace Singabire, who supported the girls in acquiring the vocational skills, says she will continue working alongside the government to address challenges facing families, stressing that this is how the country will achieve faster development, sentiments echoed by development partners.
The main purpose is to see a young girl from rural areas thriving and reaching a bright future. So we started this program in Nyagatare district, and then later on we moved into Musanze district, and in total we are now supporting 100 girls. And then in those girls we have 4 cohorts, and we have 92 girls who are doing practical skills training. We have 5 girls who are doing normal school. They went back to secondary school, and then we have some other girls we are supporting with a small business. The program it's going very well right now, and we are hoping to reach to more girls in the future, to go to other districts and reach to every single girls who need a support, who need a hands to hold, and who need a voice. So that's our future plan, and seeing what we have reached in 1 year, and we are hoping that in future we're going to reach to more and support those girls. Yeah. Some of the impacts, first of all, is to see those girls' confidence. Them standing in front of crowd and speak, it speak high volume for me. Because the time we select them from their families, they can't even talk to someone they are close to. They are very shy. They can't even look up. They can't even, it's hard for them. You can see like they lost self-esteem. So seeing them stand in front of people and talking, for me, it gives me a lot of joy. And also hope.
Kiely. I live in Hawaii in the United States, and I came to Rwanda a year and a half ago, early 2024, and I was overwhelmed by the history of what your country has done in the last 30 years. And then I met Grace, and Grace opened my eyes to the opportunity to, I use the word invest in the youth that need help to participate to make Rwanda even a better country. GGC is still young, only 1 year old. But when I look at the 50, 60, 70 girls that graduated, but then I think of their cousins, their aunts and uncles, their parents, it's not just 50 or 60 girls. It's 300, 400 people. And then go on to the next generation. And now it's not 300 or 400 people, now it's 3,000 or 4,000 people. So, like life, you take little steps to get to where you're going. So, GGC is only 1 year old, and I think that what's been done has been great, and it's just really a small picture of what it's going to do in the future.
Now, such vocational training supports the national goal of increasing the proportion of people undertaking vocational education to at least 60%, while also reducing unemployment and related challenges. The girls pursued short-term vocational courses, including the use of technology in delivering various services, tailoring, welding, and beauty care, and some of their peers are currently studying construction, carpentry, mechanics, and other trades that will help them become self-reliant. That's it for now. I look forward to seeing you again soon as always. Until then, it is goodbye.